Welcome everybody back to the Believers Club. Clearly, this is my first time doing the intro, but welcome back, guys. Today, we are going to be talking about consistency, which literally goes hand in hand with our last week's episode, which was about discipline. But we're talking about consistency and the struggles of getting consistent with your life when it comes to content, when it comes to just doing things personally. For me, it's weight loss, like I always mention. But yeah, so we're going to dive into consistency and the struggles that you may experience or that we have experienced. Harj.
Yeah. Consistency.
I felt like a reporter there for a second. I was like, and back to Harj.
Consistency is like one of those things that you have to practice consistency, in my opinion. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but you have to practice being consistent because it's not something that most of us wake up with one day and we're like, okay, yeah, I know how to like be consistent with everything in my life. Like we struggle. It's really important because consistency comes up in so many different ways. For some people, it's in relationships. If you're not a consistent person in your relationship or you're dating somebody that's not consistent, they're not continuously like showing up as the person that you met them as, that's a red flag, get the hell out, right? But in your day-to-day life, if you're not consistent with your habits, then you're going to have a really difficult time succeeding at achieving your goals.
That's so true. It's literally on habits. For me, I'll be honest, my habits are not the best when it comes to certain things, but then I can be so disciplined in other parts of my life. But it's definitely habits. That's a huge calling as to what you're going to be consistent with, because your habits really speak to what you naturally enjoy doing or that you don't question yourself before trying to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And if the crazy thing is with habits and consistency too, is that there's some people that are born just naturally very smart, right? And whatever they do, they just like super succeed. You know, that kid that never studied for his exam and got an A somehow. There's those kinds of people, but most of us are not that person, right? And that person generally will struggle later on in their life because life gets really busy, and if you can't organize your time and your schedule, you're going to struggle, right? But then there's the rest of the world, the rest of us who maybe aren't like super genius, but we have skills and we have things that we want to achieve. Our trick is that if we can learn how to be consistent in our day-to-day lives, our dreams and our goals can easily be succeeded. I heard Right. I heard this on a podcast I was listening to yesterday. It's called Win Anyway. And they were saying that, listen, there's somebody else in your shoes right now, if not in a worse situation, that is killing it out there. And you're sitting here complaining because your situation is so bad. But there's somebody else out there that's probably like struggling even more than you are, and they're still killing it because they have habits. They don't have excuses. They have habits.
Yeah.
Right?
And also, I think the struggle is too, sometimes we end up comparing our habits to somebody else's habits. So if we're on step 1, we end up comparing ours to someone who's on step 20.
Yeah.
And we are completely different. Your step 1 is going to look completely different than somebody who's on step 20. But it all consists of what you do in your day-to-day life and what you hold yourself accountable for. Period.
Exactly. And say you have like a set of habits, right? Like for example, my habits every day are to like get up, shower, get ready, make tea, go for a walk, get my head clear, right? And make my bed, all those things that I know sets me up for a day. I sometimes struggle. There's days where I'm like, I've gone 2 days now without actually doing that, and I can feel the effects of it. So you know what I know? I know that today I have to get back at doing that, right?
Yeah.
And and it's okay to like sometimes like fall off, but the goal of consistency is to have more days where you are working on your habits than not.
Right? Yeah. One thing that came up from that, what you just said, is what we also end up doing is when we're falling off, like for me, the walking, I literally was so good. I started like last May, went for regular walks. I kind of fell off at the end of February. And I had to, like, it was getting to me mentally. I was kind of like, yo, you're back into that uselessness. Like, I was almost beating myself up, but I had to check myself right there that, first of all, you've said this many times and I love this. You have to be gentle and patient with yourself.
Mhm.
You cannot beat yourself up, because that's not how you're going to form the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
You're not going to come up with all the great habits, all the consistency, and all the different things you want to do when you're in a negative minded state, or when you're not thinking that you're worthy of doing whatever it is, which could be sleeping all day, or you could be up from 6 a.m. till midnight. So
Mhm.
that's another thing I think a lot of us, I personally definitely do. I beat myself up before I just tell myself, it's okay. It's okay to fall off. It's okay to sleep in. It's okay to not know what your day is going to look like.
Yeah.
But bring it back to what the focus is.
And being consistent with that mindset too, because some people are like, their consistency isn't just your habits, it's also the way that you think.
It starts right here. It all starts right up there.
People are like, oh, okay, I've got like my schedule down. I know that I'm like working on these things. I'm consistent with it, but it literally has to be in your thoughts too, right? If you're
Yeah.
consistently thinking negative things, or you're
Yeah.
consistently beating yourself up, guess what? The next time you fuck up, you're gonna beat yourself up.
Like I said, I thought I'd change, but of course the negativity comes through. But the fact that I check myself, that's what Hart just mentioned. Like, you have to be there. You have to be a critique, but you also have to be your best friend at the same time and talk to yourself and walk through it with yourself.
Yeah, man, bridge the gap between the critic and the friend, and like realize that you both have something to offer each other, right? Both sides
Right
of
there.
you have something to offer the other side, because
Yeah.
one can get really strong and the other one can just die off really fast. And that's when you start to have problems, right?
Yeah, because it's easy to feed the negativity.
Yeah, and you can be overly optimistic where you don't even see the things that you got to work on, right?
That's another one.
That's the
Yeah.
one that I personally struggle with, is that I never really had a hard time beating myself up. Like sometimes I did, but I'm overly optimistic that I
Yeah.
see the challenges that I have to work on sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, I'm just like, it's so easy for me to be positive about everything. Like everything. 'Cause there's times where I had to check myself and be like, are you mental or are you okay? Because like, why are you not bothered by certain
Yeah.
things, right? And I'm like, wait a second, okay, maybe there's something I need to learn here. But back to the point of consistency, I think that if you can learn to understand that we are creatures of habit, and we just have to choose which one we want to be consistent with. And once we actually make that choice, just turn the switch on and run with it, right?
It's a choice. It's a choice that needs to be made daily.
Yeah.
It's a choice that you're presented with that choice, and either you make it or you don't. And then you live with the consequences of that choice throughout the day or throughout the month or throughout the year.
So exactly. And you know what? I've been really consistent with, up until now, until I hit 30, is I was so consistent in being in my own thoughts. I was consistent with partying and spending money and going out and not thinking about the next stage, living in the moment, because I craved freedom. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to implement habits and routine. And I feel like that's like jail for me. Like, I want to be free and all that kind of stuff. And then what happens is you end up living by the seam of the, what's that saying? You live by the seat of your pants.
Yeah. 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 Whatever's presented, you just
I
go
just
with that.
roll with it. I just roll with it. I'm like, yeah, let's do this today. Let's do this tomorrow. Let's, not thinking about anything. And I got myself into like a really bad habit, right? And I was like, I'm not consistent, until I realized I am consistent. I am consistently shitty at a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I have to figure that out. And then it wasn't until I hit 30 where I was like, okay, I need to figure out why this isn't working. For such a happy person, why am I not so happy all the time? Like with
Yeah.
life. And I realized I had to flip the script of what I was being consistent with.
Yeah. Yeah. You had to bring it back to you. Yeah.
Bring it back. And like we talked in other episodes, in the past episodes, if you guys watch, about discipline, about habits and those things. And consistency, you can't have any of those things if you're not consistent. Those things don't matter if you don't practice them daily. It's cool to have a habit for a day, but what's that going to get you?
Yeah,
Right?
no, it's definitely, you're only going to benefit in the long run. It's not going to be a week of doing something, a month of doing something. it literally needs to be part of your schedule, just like you would wake up to go to a job. You need to have the same type of mentality when it comes to whatever it is that you're trying to be consistent with.
Yeah, and like we said in the last episode, start with one or two things that you know that you can nail, because if you can, let's say it's making your bed. Like I haven't made my bed right now, but I will. As soon as I get off, I know, okay, there's something I didn't do. I have to
Yeah.
take my bed. Okay, I have to go for a walk. I have to do these things. And then as soon as you are consistent with those things, you have to sit back at your day and be like, killed it, did it.
That's another thing. Yeah.
Because your brain is soon, like, I got off of a call yesterday with a client and I'm like, I need positive reinforcement. Got off the call, literally saw my desk. I was like, killed it. That you have to reinforce to your brain that, like, okay, you're on to something.
Yeah, because some of us, a lot of us, I included, I definitely need affirmations when I do something, and I'm not the best person that does it to myself. So
Yeah.
I'm always looking for outward, looking at from like outside, but that's never gonna happen until you also start to show up for yourself. Like I show up for myself in a lot of spaces personally, but then there's so many that's like a downfall that I don't show up for me. And yeah, you definitely have to show up for you. You have to be your biggest cheerleader. That's kind of one of the things I've been preaching about since I started my journey too. And it does wonders when you pat yourself on the back, when you tell yourself you're worthy, you can do anything you fucking want to do in your life. If you got the consistency, you got the right habits, and you got discipline, you can achieve it all. And yeah, we could slap ourselves all day, but we also need to clap for ourselves.
She's got me feeling so inspired right now.
Well, that inspired me. That came out of nowhere. You can't
No,
slap. You gotta clap, man, for sure.
there's no thing. There is nothing in the world.
Yeah, no thing. No, that's exactly what it is. There is no thing that will take it away.
There's nothing that you can't do in this world. Honestly, you have to believe that. And you have to
Yeah.
ask yourself, like, why are you so uncomfortable giving yourself praise for being consistent with something? Why are you uncomfortable? Why are you more comfortable being down on yourself than you are being up? Right. And a lot of times it probably comes from the fact that we're not used to being told that, hey, I'm proud of you. We're not
Our
used to
environment. Yeah, our environment. Yeah.
it's probably like, yeah, dude, you should have been doing that from the beginning. Like, that's a basic. But
Yeah.
I don't think we necessarily all grew up with the whole, like, congratulations, I like, for every little thing that you did, right?
Mhm.
A lot of us did, but I know that in society, we didn't necessarily always get coached along the way as kids, right? Not to say our parents, but the schools, right? Even just out in the general public, like, nobody's there to, like, pat you on the back. You got to learn to be able to do that for yourself, and you have to learn to challenge yourself, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, man, those are just some of the things. I think consistency is key, but, like, start with the small things. Start with a cup. Oh yes, this is one thing that, like, I heard yesterday, and I want to say it to you guys here too, because it just blew my mind up. And it was, if you want to become better in your life, just start with 1% every day.
Yeah.
If
Add that
you
up.
are if you're just 1% better every single day for the next 100 days, you've officially become 100% better.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
taking
Yeah.
3 months and 10 days, right? If
Yeah.
you just learn to do one thing better in your day, that's 1%, right? It's like,
Yeah.
it could be as simple as, like, learn how to get up 30 minutes earlier. Today,
Yeah.
learn how to run an extra 10 minutes on your workout. It could be, today I'm going to, like, whatever it is, right? Become a little bit better. And I promise you, in 3 months and 10 days, you're going to be a different person.
Consistency comes with the challenges, and that's the biggest challenge. You have to challenge yourself. You have to create the consistency for yourself, and I, nobody else will do it for you. That's the one thing, if you can take away, no one's going to do anything for you in life unless you don't want to. If you're not putting in 100% of whatever it is, you're not being consistent, you're not disciplined in your life to achieve the things you say you want to achieve, you're not going to achieve it unless you go do the work. And start with, like you said, make a bed. I literally been making beds. I actually made my bed, so I'm very proud of myself. Which was, it takes 2 minutes, but just that feeling, and like that's now stuck in my head. Every time I get out, it's like make your bed. Like it's a simple thing,
Yeah.
and it definitely
It's hard
like
when it's not your habit. It's hard. It becomes simple.
it does, yeah. At first, I was like, oh, what do I? I'm gonna go to sleep in a couple few hours anyways. But it's just that's the thing. It's like you can justify why you don't need to do something. You can easily do that. That's where the negativity. You can easily tell yourself, oh, it's okay. It's okay if I just keep sleeping. There's nothing to do. Yeah, if you're gonna keep sleeping, there is gonna be nothing to do because you're not gonna have the time.
Yeah, and you're probably not going to have any goals.
There you go. Yeah. So consistency is key, but it starts with your habits. It starts with what you do right now.
And like building the bridge between your critic and your positive side. When you're in those moments where you are working on those small habits, like building, like making your bed, you're talking to yourself, right? And a lot of times you're like, man, this is fucking annoying. I don't want to do this. This is dumb. You're in a bad mood because you're doing something that your brain's not used to doing. And in that moment, in those 2 minutes when you're making your bed, you're officially bridging the gap between your critic and your friend.
You're breaking that barrier. Yeah.
Breaking the barrier and making the bed.
Yeah. Definitely start with the small baby steps, man. That's anything in life. You're never gonna, if you go all in, you're gonna miss some things. Yeah. So baby steps is the perfect way to first get to know yourself, what comes easy to you. You'll figure it out that way too. When you do baby steps, you'll be like, oh, you know what? That comes easy to me. And that doesn't. What do I need to work on? The shit that doesn't come easy.
Yeah, exactly. So I love that. This is awesome.
Yeah.
I think people are going to get use out of it. So we appreciate you guys tuning in, right?
Yes, guys.
Tips, if you guys have certain things that you are working on, let us know. We can all be accountable to each other.
Yeah, for sure. Let us know. Share your experiences, how you stay consistent, because we can all use anything that we share with each other. So thank you again for watching this episode. We are so grateful for you guys and showing up every week. So thank you.
Woo! Thanks, guys.
All right. Until next week.